Dear God, whoever finds this, I don't know. Oh, you can't see this, I'm sure it's too dark. I've left the car behind. The rest of the gear, we got one magazine. And as you can tell probably from this picture, I'm walking towards the only light I can see on top of a ridge. I can hear the mountain behind me rumbling. It's an enormous mud and water slide came down and washed out the road. I never really thought I'd believe this or say this, but at this moment, I honest to God believe I'm dead.
I honest to God believe I'm dead. That, folks, is not your everyday statement. No, indeed. They are the words of a young man who thought he was about to die. Good evening, I'm Ed Linderman. We are live in the KOMO TV studios, and the fellow sitting next to me was totally convinced yesterday that being live anywhere would only apply to others, that he was as good as dead. He is News 4 cameraman David Crockett. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ed.
The film you saw a moment ago is just a small part of Dave's extraordinary experience yesterday. And during the next 30 minutes, Dave is going to share part of that experience with us. Because when Mount St. Helens blew its top yesterday at 8:32 in the morning, Dave Crockett just happened to be standing at the base of the volcano, camera on shoulder. Some 11 hours later, he was rescued by a helicopter, but in between, an incredible life and death experience. For Dave Crockett felt the full fury of the exploding mountain. For one stretch of about an hour and a half, Dave thought he was going to die. And he did something that few, if any, people in that kind of spot are able to do. He recorded his thoughts forever on a piece of film running through a camera. And that, friends, is what we are about tonight. Let's take it from the top, so to speak. Yesterday was your day off. Yes. What were you doing at the mountain?
Well, at about 3 a.m. yesterday, I woke up with a feeling that something was going to happen at the mountain, and I should be there with my camera. I just got up, loaded up the camera, headed down there.
You had a premonition?
Yes.
Has this ever happened to you before?
Periodically. Sometimes I get feelings on, there's going to be a major fire. Sometimes, unfortunately, on a bad fatal accident, I have a feeling before it happens that it's going to happen. And
so you loaded up and headed for Mount St. Helens?
Yes, I did. I arrived there just in time for the eruption. It was quite a bit more than I expected, obviously. I slicked up the main mountain, main peak of St. Helens, just started to go. And then I looked off to my left to a hill, and I had some black smoke coming up from behind some trees, and I wondered where in the heck that was coming from. That just surprised the heck out of me. That just shouldn't have been there. I got in my...
Let me interrupt you just for a second. I want to let everybody in our audience get a real presence of what's happening here. So let's just be quiet for about 10 seconds. This is the film that Dave shot yesterday, just as it blew, and I want you to just kind of hear the sound, because it sounds, what, like a bomb went off, as far as the wind noise goes. Now, one other thing I want to mention as we're talking, you hear a siren in the background. That's the alarm system on your car going off.
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right. Again, this is the film that Dave shot just as it went up. Go ahead.
Okay, well, like you said, that is the sound of my alarm going off. When the mountain started going, I looked back up towards St. Helens again, and I saw a wall of water and mud and trees coming down the hill towards me very quickly. I obviously got in my car, took off, looked in the rearview mirror, and saw it catching up with me rather rapidly. I knew I didn't have any chance at all to outrun it, so I came up on a little logging road on the left that led down into a gully and up onto a hill. And I thought maybe I could make it down through the gully and up on that hill and get out of the water's way. I started down the hill, and I made it, I was going about 60 miles an hour when the water hit the gully and took out the road, and it exploded the road. It didn't just wash out, it just exploded with flying trees, rocks. Threw the car in reverse, started back up the hill at about 30 miles an hour, and the whole back side of the hill came down. So I was trapped right in the middle. And right then I really thought I'd had it. I got out of the car, the alarm went off. That's like I said, you heard the alarm going off. I was not too worried about it at that time. I got out and I thought, well, I might as well break out my camera and start taking some pictures. And that's what I did.
That's just what we see right here.
Yes.
What was the time frame, the time span, from the time the mountain blew until the time that this water and wall of mud was enveloping you?
That's real hard to say. Gosh, it seems like anywhere from 10 seconds to 2 hours. It's just, there was no time frame to it. You know, it was just something that just happened. There wasn't a real definite feeling of time for me at all to it.
All right. The time that you took off and now you're stranded was the span of about what?
It was probably about 5 minutes.
All right.
Approximately.
All right. You are stranded.
Like I said, there were so many things happening so fast that, you know, it's just, there was no real feeling of time to it.
One little area, you in the car, and now you're shooting this film.
Yes.
Okay. This is when the ash begins to fall.
The ash had been building in the sky above me. It was all, you know, moving towards me. The ash was not coming down on me at that time. I was still thinking that I was going to get a lot more water and a lot more debris coming down the mountain. And that still had me pretty worried. But then I noticed that the lower washout in the lower gully that I'd first tried to make, it started subsiding some. And I thought, if I'm going to have any chance of getting out of here at all, that is the way I've got to go. So I grabbed my camera gear and I started out in that. It was mud. It was moving fairly slowly. It was steaming. It was deep, and I didn't really think I was going to make it through it to the other side, but I did. Somehow I made it through it, and I started up a logging road, and that's when the ash hit. The ash and the sulfur hit.
All right. Those of you that have been watching KOMO TV news throughout the ordeal that is Mount St. Helens may have seen some of what we're about to show you on our 5 and 6:30 news. Those of you who haven't, you're in for an extraordinary experience. The experience that is a life and death struggle, the experience that is someone thinking about it, feeling it, and recording it on film. Dave really has nowhere else to go but one direction, he believes. The huge cloud is now dropping an incredible amount of ash all around, and as it continues to descend on him, it continues to get darker and darker and darker until he is in total blackness with just a little bit of ray of light off to the front of where he's walking. You've got your sound camera,
Yes.
Magazine of film,
Yes.
and you've got a silent film camera strapped to your belt.
Yes, and yeah.
And as the cloud begins to envelop him, he's just got this one ray of light that he's walking to. He begins to feel, and you will, I'm saying it for him at the moment, but you'll hear very clearly for the next 6 minutes what he is really thinking about. It is at this point that Dave doesn't feel that he's going to make it. And if anything can be salvaged out of this, it is his experience. And he begins to narrate his thoughts on that film as he's carrying the camera. And let's go to it right now.
Well, dear God, whoever finds this, I don't know. You can't see this, I'm sure it's too dark. I've left the car behind. The rest of the gear, we got one magazine. And as you can tell probably from this picture, I'm walking towards the only light I can see on top of a ridge. I can hear the mountain behind me rumbling. It's an enormous mud and water slide came down and washed out the road. I never really thought I'd believe this or say this, but at this moment, I honest to God believe I'm dead. There's really no way to describe those feelings. I feel the ash now in my eyes. It's getting very hard to breathe. Burns to breathe. Because I'm having trouble talking. It burns to breathe. Burns my eyes. Oh, dear God. My God, this is hell. I just can't describe it. It's pitch black. Just pitch black. This is hell on earth I'm walking through. Oh, God. Just one step at a time, if I can just keep walking. God, if I could only... There's more air to breathe. I'm not turning the camera off like I promised I would, but oh my God. Oh my God. Well, it's been about 10 minutes. It's now totally pitch black. I can't see to keep on walking. I guess I'm just gonna have to sit down here and wait it out. God, I pray to God that's all I'm doing is sitting here waiting it out. God. Oh dear God. It's very, very hard to breathe in this. I can't see a thing. If only I could keep walking, you know, only if I could do something. Only I could do something, you know. Instead of just sitting here. Yeah, I got the wrong attitude here. I mean, this would be something to tell my grandchildren about. Oh man. I'll turn the camera off. Maybe hopefully I'll be coming back and talking to you later. It's a little bit of break. I'm getting a little gray. I'm gonna keep walking again. Start walking again. Here goes. Wish me luck. If only this air would clear for 2 minutes. Give me a clear breath of air. I don't know what's in this stuff. I can tell you one thing. This stuff is not made for humans to breathe. I'm sitting down resting. I just can't breathe. I only walked about 50 feet since I talked to you last. God, if it just give me a break. Just 1 5-minute run for it. Well, I'm trying the radio. I'm on the portable. I think I can get out of here. Here goes. I don't know why I'm recording this, but oh well. Here goes. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Does anybody copy this unit? It's portable 5, mayday, mayday, mayday. My God, I never realized how badly I wanted to live. Oh, I wanted to live so bad. It's completely black in here again. I can't see a foot in front of my face. The ash is coming down very heavy on me. The breathing isn't getting any harder. That's encouraging. It's hard, but it's not getting any harder. It's either gotten very dark in here or it's a horrible thought, or else I'm blind. I don't know what's in this stuff. I can feel it falling on me. Can't see anything. God, I want to live. You know, Shram, you were right. You were right, Shram. When I saw that mountain go, I turned that car around, and I could see in the rearview mirror, you know, I could see the stuff coming. There was no way I was going to outrun that. I just parked that car, and I started running for high ground. And that mud flow came down. It came within 3 feet of the car, man, with trees and boulders and things, you know, 5 times as big as that news car, Shram. Oh, about 50 feet from me. My God. You were right. Never should have come up here. You were right. I still say I'm going to live to tell my grandchildren about this, so. With God's help. With God's help, I am. Well, I got to conserve film again. Mayday, mayday, mayday. God, I can see a little bit now. Damn, there's just no road.
Absolutely incredible. I don't know about you, but I need a break. We'll be right back. I'm still recovering. Dave, of course, it's a piece of cake. He's seen it several times. What were you thinking about as you watched it here? Dave has seen this a couple of times, but I mean, every time I see it, I can't believe it.
Well, first of all, Ed, it's not a piece of cake for me to see that each time. It's very rough to see that. You did hear me mention God quite often in there. Oh my God. I truly believe that God is probably the reason I'm here today. He had to have been there. Had to have been there holding my hand all the way.
Did you pray?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did twice. One time when I was in the total darkness, I just prayed for a little chance. You know, give me a little chance. Give me something I can fight for. You know, work towards to get out of here. And I think on some of that footage you saw that little light, you know, just up on the top of that hill, that ridge that I kept walking towards. You know, I couldn't, even with that light up there, I couldn't see my feet. I was tripping over stuff. I couldn't see what I was walking on, but I still had something to walk towards. That really kept me going.
Do you consider yourself a religious man?
That's a hard question to answer. Certainly more now than before. Just before, that's a real toughie. Yes, I would say yes.
All right. Well, he got out of it, folks. How'd you do it?
Just one step at a time. Just walking towards up the ridge, just one step at a time. And just thinking, I've got to keep going. I can't stay here. I cannot. Well, I couldn't breathe. It was dark. It was so dark because it was the sulfur, the gas, just everything was right down on ground level. A couple times I stopped, and you heard me talking. When I said I'm sitting still, I was actually lying face down on the ground, just my face just right on the ground, trying not to breathe, just breathe the air, just breathe as little as possible.
The cloud eventually begins to dissipate to an extent. You're able to see.
As I climb higher, I just kept climbing and climbing and climbing.
How many feet?
I began to think I was going to make it when I hit about 1,000 feet. When I got about 1,000 feet up out of the valley, a breeze came up and started to push some of the sulfur, some of the smoke away from me.
Now this is when you've reached the top of the ridge.
Yes, I reached it. Okay, I'm not quite. The pictures you're looking at now, I've reached. I'm about 2,000 foot level now, and you're looking down now at the mud flow.
Where you were.
Yes, and right here you can see some ash on the area where I was. This is where I was looking down at the scene I'd been in. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. We're back to the news car. There's a note. That is a note I left in case anybody found the car.
That you were going up this direction.
Right. Okay.
Now we're up above.
Okay, now we're looking at the mud flow. Okay, we're looking at the mud flow.
So the audience understands time here. 8:30, the mountain explodes. What time did you reach the top of the mountain, or the other ridge that you went up?
Okay, like I've told you before, it's tough to tell you. I would say it took me probably about 4 hours, 4-hour climb.
And the darkness you were in, about how long?
That was about an hour 20 minutes, an hour and a half.
That you simply couldn't see 1 foot in front of your face.
Right, right. The biggest break I did have was that one little light spot I could walk towards. It just gave me something to keep moving towards. It gave me a reason to keep going. I eventually did reach a logging road and did make it to the top of the ridge. Now, these are the pictures that I took from up there. I'm looking down in the valley. As you can see, it's gone. That's just a mud flow now. There are no trees left or anything. I was just stunned when I walked to the edge of this and saw this. And the only thing that was left standing down there was a little stretch of road, 200 feet long, and about 40 feet wide, right there, with my news car on it. That was the only thing left in that whole valley.
By the way, friends, the news car didn't make it. Dave has a small bill for about $8,000 worth of equipment. When you reached the ridge, did you then feel you were safe?
I felt fairly safe. There were constant earthquakes. The mountain was rumbling constantly. It was just nonstop. I took some wood. I built some piles of wood in an international distress signal. I put them in 3 corners in a triangle. I did have a flare with me to light them. And I sat back, took some pictures of the mountain, tried to relax. I was pretty happy at just being alive and being there and looking at the scene that you're seeing now.
During this time, did you see any other human being, any wildlife at all?
No, I didn't. There were aircraft, but they were very, very high. They could not have seen my signal flare or the fires, so I did not bother to light them in. I just tried to relax, just sit back and relax then. It was much later in the day. It was about 6 o'clock before the first rescue helicopters came in, and I heard one coming. I lit the flare, waved that, and it's a typical highway flare like you see at accidents at night.
All right, let's just go over this for the audience.
Okay.
You build a fire, a warning fire, it's standard procedure, and you have a flare.
Okay, what I did is I built 3 piles of wood in a triangle,
I got you.
3 corners, and I had the flare to use first, hoping to attract attention. And if that didn't work, I was going to light all 3 piles. Then I had three fires going in an international distress signal.
All right. Little did he know at the time, as he just related to us, he feels safe. Little did you know that the ordeal was far from over as far as the rescue attempt in order to get back here.
Correct.
You see a helicopter.
Correct. I waved my flare at him. He just went right on by. I believe it was an Army, very fast, very fast. He went right on by. I thought he didn't see it, so I went in and I lit the fires. About a little while later, a Coast Guard helicopter showed up and did get me out of there with a bucket, which was quite an experience. We had a little problem with that. They got me up into the helicopter and immediately put oxygen on me and got me to a hospital as quickly as possible in Kelso.
We are seeing film that was shot by a Portland television station of Dave on the helicopter. You mentioned that you had some problems getting up into the helicopter.
Yes, the ash was about 2 inches deep on top of the mountain, and every time this helicopter came in with a bucket, he would just blow ash all over. And I've been breathing this all day, and it was tough enough for me to breathe more of it. But also, he could not see me, and I could not see the bucket. I finally did make a grab for the bucket. He dropped it immediately. I got my gear in it. I got into it. I don't know what happened, and neither does the man running it. It tipped over, and my arm was pinned under it. He could not pull it along, as my arm was under it, and it could have hurt my arm pretty badly. So he kind of went sideways, apparently jerked the bucket up, and I hit my head and knocked me unconscious. And apparently I went through the trees, and the next thing I remember, I was looking up at a man reaching out to a cable and at the bottom of a helicopter, and I was being pulled into the chopper, and they were putting oxygen over my face and giving me water.
So you were out cold for a matter of seconds as you were being lifted up into the chopper?
Correct, yes.
Okay. I think we've got a map of basically how the whole situation laid out from the time that the volcano blew. We've only got about a minute left, Dave, if you can kind of quickly tell us exactly how you made it out from the mountain there up into the ridge. See what we're talking about there?
Yes, it's a little tough. I went up a logging road, a Weyerhaeuser logging road that kind of parallels Highway 504. You can see the star there. Gosh, it really is hard to explain. I went up a logging road that does parallel 504 to within about 2 minutes, within 2 miles of the mountain.
Okay,
and,
all right. An extraordinary experience. We appreciate you sharing it with us. Nice to have you back among the living, my man.
It is nice to be here. Thank you, Ed.
Real briefly, today Dave and I were talking about this in the cafeteria, and he looked out the window and said, wow. And I looked out and I said, what are you talking about? It's just rain and clouds. And he said, I will never, ever see things the way they really are again. And only Dave can really understand what that means. For Dave Crockett, I'm Ed Linderman. We will be with you through the evening as time permits. As far as the volcano situation, of course, we'll be here at 11. Thanks for being here. Goodbye for now.